Now this particular video is more about how you can use bowls in magic. Um, it's actually pretty simple. Now, like I've said before, one thing, this isn't a good example, but if you, first we're going to look at, you can use bowls to clear things. Say you've got a crystal you really like. Now, this really needs to be a bit bigger, but you put it in the bottom of the bowl. Then you put the thing on top, the crystal, whatever, on top. Now, one of the things, if you're doing things that are fragile, don't strike it. Either gently tap it or sing it. And do it slow because you don't want anything to break. Doing this, I use this to clear tarot decks. You can use this to clear crystals. You can use it, jewelry, tools. Say you've got a stylus you use for marking on your candles. You want to clear it. You can use this to clear a lot of things. In a similar vein, you can use it to empower. Going back, let's say instead of clearing the crystal, you wanted to empower it. Uh, you've got it programmed with what you want, but you wanted to now empower it. You can do something similar. Just strike the bowl because you may not be able to see it too well, but the crystal's in there on the purple, and you can strike the bowl, and you can sing it. Um, you can clear jewelry. You can empower jewelry. Um, if you're if you're doing herb work, you can empower the incense, the powders you're making. If you're going to do potions, say you make a little tincture. I make a tincture rather than oils. It's got some oils in, but for me, the alcohol I use with a bit of oil keeps it from being rancid compared to if I make a good quality oil and don't use it fast enough. You can further empower in the bowls. You can take water and say you're making your holy water. You can carefully put it with a cloth on the bottom, which I sadly don't have. You can put some kind of cloth on the bottom. Then you can put your holy water in there. Now, again, if you're using a glass bottle, you've got to strike it gently or sing it gently and slowly. If you say you've got a plastic bottle of spring water, that's a little different. You can strike it a bit harder, but it's useful to empower holy water. Um, Anything you're making that you want to add extra energy to, you can use sound to. Uh, Actually, I forgot when I was talking about doing an offering. When you do your offering, you'll invite whoever you're offering it, you'll invite them in, but at the end, say, take your offerings and go in peace. And I use a specific cadence, rhythm that in my mind is a goodbye process. I don't know if anyone else uses it, but it works for me. I go, and then I say goodbye, farewell. But I do it a lot. Da 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 tap. So, if you're going to do an offering, just a little aside, if you're going to do an offering, unless you intend them to hang out with you all the time, open a space, let them have their offerings, and then say, thank you very much. Let's be in peace. Take your offerings with you. Go back where you came from. I appreciate your help. May we be at peace, etc., and goodbye. Now, you can also cast spells. And, if you are more spiritual, new age, you might call it affirming, putting your affirmations in and empowering affirming. It doesn't matter. It's however you want to look at it. Um, Sadly, I don't have a good example of a spell right now. Let's. This is actually just a little cartoon. Let's pretend that this is a charm I want to empower. Put that in and tap it. Now, Ted Andrews did point out that if you circle it clockwise, the energies tend to go outwards. I usually will circle it. If I'm singing it, I will circle it counterclockwise if I want to empower what's inside. It's up to you. It doesn't really matter. But you can use it, um, not just to empower food, but I've got a box on my 11-inch that I've got decorated with sigils and stuff, and I've got cards from friends, I've got signatures of people, I've got things that are important, and I regularly, several times a day, I just gently tap it with the intention that everything in the box gets affected by the sigils on the box as the sound goes through, and everyone in there gets some kind of blessing and empowerment. So basically, you can use this. And I know at the Gray School, I was part of the, briefly while I was there, I was part of the Defense Against the Dark Arts Club. And we were looking at ideas how to use sound in self defense psychically. That's something I'm still exploring. There is a lady wrote a book that I don't remember the name and I can't find it, but I gave it to a friend of mine who's at the West Coast now. Excuse me. She basically said to create your own um, little musical mantra, I guess is what she called it. You took the tone, musical tone of your astrological sign. So if you were a Capricorn, you took the tone of that. You then took the tone of the number, your birthday. So if you were born on the 25th, you'd take the musical tone for that. Then she added another one, and I forget what it was. And then she taught you how to sing it. And if you felt that you were getting depressed or something, you could sing this tone. But actually, you can take your own personal tone. If you feel things are getting too strong, and if you know you are, if you know your tone, you can hum it to yourself. You could hum it on your name, or you could hum it on something that you find of value or inspiring. Uh, you can use the singing bowls to call the elements if you want. You can take a bowl, and as you go in each direction when you're casting the circle, you can strike the bowl and say, Hail, come forth. You might want to try playing with the elemental sounds, the different bowls, seeing. And so you might take a middle C bowl and invoke earth, and you might take. So, but those are other things you can do. And it just, they're just starters. There's an awful lot that you can do that I haven't even begun to cover. There's one last, and it's sort of an odd idea, but channeled stuff you take with a grain of salt. But this has a fun idea of using a fire crystal to go to hear, mentally hear the subtle sounds of something. I don't, well, I don't have a good example of a fire crystal, but it's sort of a fun idea to play with, and maybe later I'll get more into it.